Hey everyone, welcome back to my astrology channel. Today, I want to take you through how to read your horoscope in terms of the Vedic astrology. So right here, you're going to see a chart. It has 12 houses, and we're going to get right into what each house represents, and then check out my other videos. So for example, you go online, you want to pull up your chart. You can easily pull it up based on your date of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth. Okay, so what happens is when you are born, a snapshot of the sky is taken, and all the planets that are sitting in whatever houses that they're transiting through at that time gets locked in. So for instance, if your Jupiter at that time was going through house 1, then your Jupiter in its static state is going to sit in Jupiter in your house 1, and it's going to give you those results throughout your lifetime. Now, of course, the planets are always transiting. So as they're transiting, whatever's happening in your current life will also be impacted by the transit of the planets. But right now, today, we're going to talk about the static horoscope that gets made when you are born. It doesn't matter whether you are, from the Eastern culture or the Western culture. It doesn't matter. Every single person has a snapshot of their chart, of their stars that is taken, and their life revolves around that. They bring in their karma from their past life through house 5 that you'll see here, and then their current destiny is in house 9. So we're going to go through today and talk about this. So the first step for anyone to get their horoscope is, check out some of the very nice reputed websites. Go in, put your date of birth, time of birth, place of birth, and you get your D1 chart. That's called your Lagna chart, Lagna, Lagna chart, and it's also called your D1 chart. So you can make sure you get it from a couple of websites so you know that it looks the same. But as long as you figure out a reputed website where you've gotten it from, you should be good to go. All right, there are other divisional charts as well, which show a lot of different things in the horoscope, such as a D7 chart, D9, D10, all of those. For today, we're going to talk about the D1 chart. Okay, let's go through it. I may have to split this video into a bunch of different videos for different houses, depending on how long it gets. So let's start with the first house, which is the house of self. So, before I get to the first house, let's talk about, you're going to get your D1 chart from the websites, and then this is what's going to pull up for you, okay? You're going to see a chart like this. Now, to understand that chart, that's what we're going to go through for the first house, second house, third house, fourth house, etc. And I'm going to tell you what these numbers mean. So for instance, if you see 1 here, 2 here, those things, I'm going to explain that to you. Those are the houses. And then the other numbers that you're seeing here, you're going to see a 1 here, a little 1 here, a 4 here, the 7 here, the 10 here. These are the rashis that are sitting in that particular house. Okay, so these are not the houses' names. I made it as of Kalpurush Kundali. In the Kalpurush Kundali, you have, house 1 has the first rashi in it, house 2 has the second, and so on. But I have made it as the Kalpurush Kundali. So that's what you will see. Anyways, let's talk about the first house. What is the first house? Your first house will always be here. Okay, it will never change. So no matter what number is sitting here, it could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 10. That is just your Lagna rising. That was a planet that was transiting through the Lagna at that time, and it ended up being your Lagna rising. So for instance, if you're born, say in the morning hours, right when the sun was rising, then you would have sun sitting in your first house because sun was rising at that time. And other planets that are transiting through at that time, you're going to have them in your first house. So the first house, this particular number is going to be your Lagna Lord. It's a Lord of your house. Okay, so that is house number 1. What does house number 1 represent? House number 1 represents yourself. It represents what you are going to be as a person. It represents your health, your vitality, the way you are projected to the world, how people perceive you as, what you are on the inside, what do you look like perhaps, things like that. I'm going to give you a few examples. If you have, say, your Lagna Lord, say is number 3. Right here I show 1, but say it's number 3. Okay, number 3 would mean you're a Gemini ascendant. Now, what are the qualities of Gemini? Gemini is ruled by Mercury, by Lord Mercury, or the planet Mercury. The qualities of Mercury are, it's a very fast planet. Okay, it takes about 88 days to go around the sun. So fast planet, so you're gonna have those characteristics. You're gonna like to do things fast. Maybe you talk fast. Perhaps you think fast. Those qualities you'll have. Second thing Mercury does is high intelligence. So you will have a higher intelligence as opposed to some of the other planets. Mercury is a business-oriented planet, so you will have good business sense. If you set up a business, chances are it comes naturally to you, and you line up everything based on your speed and your intelligence, and you set that business up very well, perhaps even very quickly compared to somebody else who may have something else in that ascendant. Mercury is also for your speech. The way you speak is going to be different as compared to others. Your speech may be more well composed. Now, afflictions are always there. Please remember, even if you have 3 there, but you're getting in an aspect from Saturn somewhere or Mars somewhere, those things will be impacted. Now you go in the opposite. Your speech may be impacted, your intelligence may be impacted. You maybe are using your intelligence for things that are not ethical or not correct. So those afflictions do matter. We'll get more into that too. But for now, I hope this made sense to you, what your house number 1 represents. Also, if you have a planet sitting in your first house, okay, you'll never see these numbers, these Roman numerals, you'll never see them in your horoscope. You will only see these little numbers, okay, the 1, 4, 7, 10, and they could be different, completely different. So you have to memorize your houses. This will always be house 1. This will always be house 2. This will always be house 3, house 4, house 5, house 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, okay? Always be those homes. So you just have to memorize them because you will never see them as written with those 1, 2, 3, 4s, okay? You'll see those little Rashi numbers, but they will be different, as I mentioned to you. So now next thing on house 1 I wanted to tell you is, say you have your Saturn sitting in your house 1. Now, what are the qualities? What are you going to look like to the world? When you have something sitting there, those are the qualities that you have, that you look, the world looks at you in that sense, and you also have those qualities. So Saturn is an elderly judge. Saturn walks slow. Saturn thinks a little bit slower. It is very fair. It is a judge, so it will judge you whether you're doing things right or not. Okay, Saturn is also very hardworking, so you will be hardworking person. Saturn is also fully disciplined person, so you will be disciplined on the inside. You'll be fair, disciplined, authoritative. It's always delay. Your work may take a longer time to get done, so those would be the delays you would see. You would respect the elderly, because Saturn is an elderly judge. You may have some issues with your ankles, perhaps because Saturn walks a little bit slower with that ankle. So those are the things you will see if you have Saturn sitting in your first house. To give you an example, so I now gave you an example of what your Rashi would be, what your ascendant would be sitting here. So if that was a Gemini, that would be your qualities. But if you have Saturn sitting here, now you'll have more of the Saturn qualities, but you'll still have your Mercury qualities. So say you have Saturn here with Gemini rising, you will have those qualities I told you. You'll be fast and you'll be able to innately do that work, But you also have the qualities of Saturn, be fair, all of that stuff. And then, we have to see where number 3 is sitting, where the Lord of the number 3 would be sitting. Say Mercury is sitting in a different house. Now we have to conjunct that and figure out how it's impacting your first house and how your first house is impacting that house and all the other planets that are sitting in the other's house. So I hope this was a good explanation to you on house number 1. In our next video, we're going to do explanation of what house 2 is. All right, thank you so much for watching.